Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mystical. Welcome to the webinar, Highly Effective Strategies for Attracting and Retaining Top Talent, organized by the Singapore Chinese Chambers of Commerce and Industry in partnership with Mr. Ashok Miranda, founder of Transform and Transcend. Just a few housekeeping notes before we get started. If you have any questions, feel free to submit them anytime during the webinar by clicking on the Q&A button at the bottom of the screen. We apologize in advance if we're not able to answer all questions due to time constraint. Please note that this webinar will be recorded. Participants will receive a condensed copy of today's presentation after submitting the feedback form at the end of the session. You can stay updated of our latest happenings by following us on our SMEICC Facebook page. In the event of any technical issues during this session, we seek your kind understanding for the inconvenience caused, and please bear with us while we rectify this issue. Let us now welcome our esteemed speaker for today, Mr. Ashok Miranda. He is Singapore's leading business transformation architect and founder of Transform and Transcend. He'll be sharing great insights on how businesses can attract and retain their top talent. What an interesting and important topic, and I'm sure we can't wait to get started. Without further ado, let's start our webinar for today, Highly Effective Strategies for Attracting and Retaining Top Talent. Mr. Ashok Miranda, over to you now.
Thank you, Mystical, and a very good afternoon to everybody. Great to see here. We're close to 100 participants coming up here. And obviously, this is a very hot topic, right? And why should we care about attracting and retaining talent? Well, the answer quite simply is because if you don't have good people, you don't have success in your company. It's all about your people. And for me, this is close to my heart as a business transformation architect. I help companies transform, and a lot of the work I do is around corporate culture, and I see this to be one of the biggest challenges we have today. But firstly, I want to hear from you. How is everybody feeling this afternoon? Give me a quick indication in the chat as to how are you feeling today? How are you feeling? Awesome. Good. Rochelle's feeling good, excited. All right, let's see. This is an interactive session. We're trying to make it as interactive as we can here. So let us know, right? Let me know how you all feel here. Awesome. Yeah, looking forward to the end of COVID. I know, aren't we all, right? This has been going on for way too much. And COVID has a big influence in the way we today attract and retain talent. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Obviously, things have changed in the work environment. Okay, so again, before we start, give me an indication. How many of you here are in human resources, directly involved with human resources? Give me a yes in the chat. Okay, so there's quite a few of you directly working with human resources. So this is going to be tremendously valuable for you. How many of you here own your own business? Can I have a yes in the chat? Own your own business. All right, that's good. Own business, yeah. This will be great for you as well. And how many of you here in the group are working for a company? How many of you are working for a company? Generally, I mean, who are not in HR, will own your business, but just working for a business. How many of you here? Give me a yes in the chat. Okay. Awesome. So we have a nice mix, and so we have people, great executives here from various, across different business functions here. Wonderful. Great to see that. Okay, so let's dive into it. So all I ask now as we begin is to let's just bring our whole selves to this session. But what I mean by that is, cut off all distractions. Just your email can wait. The Ninja van can wait. Feed your dog, your cat. I hope you've done that already, because I want to make this the next 1.5 hours the most valuable time we spend together in 2022. I've put together real world new insights about how you can attract and retain talent. I'm going to share my decades of experience of working for some of the best companies in the world with great cultures and how they do that. So we'll share those experiences. But more importantly, right now, I'll also share my insights, having done several culture transformation projects over these last few years as a business transformation architect. So you get real world insight, industry insights. Okay. How many of you want to know that? Give me a yes in the chat. How many of you want to know this information? Give me a yes in the chat. Okay, great. Fantastic. So here we go. So why am I here today? I was working in the corporate life, in the corporate world for about 18 years. And about 6 years ago, I decided to venture out on my own after a lot of soul searching. And I saw problems out firsthand in companies that I started working with, or just giving my services or mentoring startups. And I realized a few things that were missing in the business world. So that got me started. And today I'm just so fulfilled as a business transformation architect, as a consultant, as a trainer and a speaker, helping businesses reach their full potential. And I have helped thousands and thousands of executives. I also teach at SMU Academy. So through my courses, seminars, and workshops, I think there's a new realization that I bring to business, that we are in a new world order. And the way you used to run a company a few years ago, it doesn't work today, right? You have to be very different in the way you approach your talent strategy, in the way you run your company, in the way you build your culture, in the way you build your brand, and the way you deliver customer experiences. And that's what I'm helping businesses do through my work. So with that insight, I'm going to bring to you real world examples and real world experiences from my consulting work that I think you will find tremendously helpful. Unfortunately, I don't start at a very optimistic note here, right? Because it gets better. Okay, just hang in there with me. It gets better. Thank you, Melody. We are in the middle of what the world is calling a great resignation wave. How many of you have heard of this? Give me a yes. How many of you have heard that this great resignation wave is moving around through the world with COVID? Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, you're probably living under a rock if you haven't heard this, right? This is the message that's coming out in media across the world today. People today are not fulfilled. They are leaving companies in droves. And COVID has accelerated this. People asking fundamental questions, why am I here at work? I don't find meaning here. I find that I need to do other things in my life rather than spend time at this place called work. I just don't want to show up for a paycheck. I don't feel motivated intrinsically. And this is happening around the world. And Singapore has not been spared as well, right? So this is information from ADP, pretty recent. Sharing this with you. This is a survey done by Indeed, one of the job sites here. Nearly a quarter of Singapore's workers intend to quit their jobs in the first half of 2022. Now, this is pretty alarming, right? When you hear about that, and exactly, I mean, it's something that's echoing right across industries across the world. This was in the Straits Times. Yes, I do read the Straits Times occasionally. This was in the Straits Times just a couple of weeks ago, and I thought I'll add this in your class. PMET resignations are at a 7-year high. All right, if you look at the last few years, you can see they've been sort of up and down, but the trend is upward especially for PMETs. And I mean, I think the most impacted areas also, just to put things in context, financial, professional services, health, and social services are definitely more impacted amongst this. This has also been out. I think this was out last year. People are not looking just at pay or compensation. It used to be very top of the list of what people wanted today, but it's lower down. Money is not a true motivator today. And this is good news for you, because I know some of you can't compensate, or you're paying market median and you're looking for something else. People are looking for that something else. And that's what this whole webinar is about today. How can we really motivate people intrinsically? How can we attract them, and how can we retain them and make people feel like they're part of something bigger? And that's what we are looking for to do. So we're in a dire straits situation here, but we can do something very quickly. We need to adapt. We need to hyper adapt to this new environment. Very briefly, let me know in the chat, what do you think employees are looking for today? Because you can see there's something not working in the corporate world. What are they looking for? Let me know. Give me your thoughts here. Being seen, Melody, that's wonderful. Wonderful. Being seen. Happiness, work-life balance, that's a big one. Purpose, thank you. Good culture. Satisfaction, being recognized. Yes. Being included, Melody, wonderful. Hey, there's over 100 of you here. Let's see some more. Melody's the one that's really active in the chat. I want to see everyone throwing your thoughts in here. Yeah, salary, you think that. Yeah, you think it's salary, but you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Salary's lower down now. Career development, absolutely. Recognition, great word. Purpose, gainfully challenged, growth and development. I think you're hitting this. I think you're hitting these, you're ticking all these boxes, working from home as well. Yeah, that comes under work-life balance. Leadership, transparency, yes. Self-benefits, talking ability, growing trust and communication. Absolutely, all these things here. All right, so great. How many of you are seeing this on your screens, on my screen here? Reasons to quit, reasons to stay. Yes, you're seeing this? Give me a yes. Yeah, so this is again part of that Indeed study. Now, here's the top 5 reasons, and let me just telegraph that for you here very, very quickly. So, a lot of you were giving your comments in terms of reasons to quit. I don't like current employment. Don't like is a generic term for I don't feel fulfilled. I just don't make it, I don't feel like it's meaningful for me. Increased stress, definitely. Today, even though we're working from home, but we bring our whole lives to work, our families and things, and being at home, it sounded good initially, but we're also dealing with everyday things at home, right? And we're also dealing with work. So that's tremendously stressful. We're not looking at people. We're only seeing people waist up. We're not seeing people waist down today. Everybody's on Zoom. I have a few people that have joined companies and they have never met a single employee from the company face to face for 2 years. Everything has been done online. And as human beings, I think we're missing that. We're missing those interactions. Workload is increased. Some of us work even more from home. Yeah, I know a lot of people that spend 15, 18 hours just because they're home. They're on their computer and they work a lot more. And people are stressed out. Burnout is a big one. Yeah, and people feel isolated. As human beings, we want to feel a part of the sense of belonging in a company with other people, right? And we feel we're isolated in this remote world. But hopefully things are going to change, but they're not going to go back to what they were. We're in a very different world now. I think we're looking at a hybrid kind of work environment as companies are trying to figure out. A reason to stay, higher compensation, yes, but again, and at the same as flexible work hours, but compensation dies up very fast. If you pay people now within 2-3 months, that's not a big motivator anymore. They're looking for something a lot more deeper than that. Career progression, I think a lot of you highlighted this in the chat. People want to grow. People want to become the best versions of themselves, right? If they want to spend 3-4 years in a company, they just don't want to do that mundane job. They want to see how they can reach their full potential, their full human potential. There's so much more that we can bring. And so growth and training and learning and development is a huge part of that experience. Appreciative bosses. We want to feel appreciated, right? We want people to say, well done sometimes, give you a pat on the back. And I think there's not enough of that going around today. It's always targets and stress and not delivering. And I think we need to change that narrative. We definitely need to change that. Access to good health care was a strong 30%, and mental health support. Today, I think managers today have to become counselors. I mean, we're not trained as managers to counsel people, and we need that. Where people are crying out for help. It's stressful, and the environments are super stressful today. And I think we need to also factor in this whole new way of managing people, because we're not trained. Managers haven't been trained to deal with psychological challenges that people are having today at work, and that's one of the things that's driving this. Okay, so great. Q&A, fantastic. There's a Q&A question. Now, as Mystical said, we're gonna dedicate a big section of this afterwards to your questions. So I really appreciate you can write your questions in there, and we'll get those answered. So you'll have specific sort of questions answered for your business. So with this background, we have quite a few things. Burnout. Again, 2 and 3 Singaporeans respondents of this survey, ADP survey, indicated they had taken on more responsibilities. People are taking on more responsibilities, even though working from home, and people have received no training. They've been thrown into the deep end. They're not getting training, but they're asked to do a lot more. People are resigning, but they're not filling those positions. So the existing employees today have to take on a lot more load on their shoulders, and that's putting a tremendous amount of stress on people here. So there's a huge shift in expectations. And what is that shift in expectations, right? Here it is. It's what employees want versus what companies are offering. You heard firsthand what employees want. You told me in the chat exactly what people are looking for. But what are most companies offering today? What are most SMEs offering? Just a paycheck, just a desk, a job, a title, your name card, and work. Nothing more. Right? So that needs to change. So we're going to take a look at some of the best companies in the world. What are they doing? How do they really intrinsically motivate? And I'm not just saying motivate, but deeply, intrinsically motivate people. I have a lot of lunches and dinners with my CEO friends, C-suite executives, and they say, I just feel my people are not there today. They don't turn up at meetings. They're just not giving 100%. And I say, why is that happening? Why do you think? And they eventually tell me there must be something more that I can do. Yes, there is. There is a lot more you can do today for people, because people are not going to just come and work at your place today. Just because you offer them a paycheck. I think things have changed, right? We are a whole new world now. So expectations have shifted. Now, before I go into the 5 things employees look for today, you just have to look at sites at like Glassdoor, right? Today, you can tell what is going on in a company. Our world has become completely transparent. People are sharing intimate things about how they feel in the company today. And it used to be a very secret thing before, like what happens in a company stays in a company. Not anymore, right? Whatever happens in your company is out there for the world to see. And that's changed the narrative, because companies today have no alternative but to create a wonderful and inspiring work environment. We need that, because otherwise your impression in the world on sites, on review sites, are going to tell the world what is really going on in your company. So we have to now be cognizant of the fact that we're living in a very, very transparent world. So I liken Glassdoor to like the TripAdvisor of restaurants, right? People are reviewing companies. CEOs are being reviewed. Everything is open and transparent today. So you have no choice but to create a good work environment. And let's see how you do that. All right. So I'm going to give you 5 key insights, because these are very, very powerful. Each one of these are super powerful. The 5 key things employees look for today, right? And let's touch on each one and see how we can deliver on this, right? The first, how can I contribute towards something bigger? What is this something bigger that people want to be part of? And I heard it in the chat, not just going through the motions, yes. It's this thing called purpose, right? People want a sense of purpose. Now, a lot of companies says, and I asked a lot of heads of companies, what is your purpose? Our purpose is to make money. What? No, I don't think that's a great motivator. Money is important, but money is a byproduct of having a powerful purpose. Purpose is the reason why you exist as a business, and it's not about making money. You have to exist to bring some good to your customers, some good to the world. And then that's when you become super successful. A purpose is your core benefit that you ultimately bring to your customers and the world. What change are you making in their lives? What difference are you making in people's lives? That is something people want to know. And most companies haven't figured out their purpose. It's not there on your website. It's not there on your job ads. It's nowhere. So how do you expect people to know what am I joining? What am I part of? Give them a sense that they are part of something bigger, right? So I'm going to spend a little time here, and purpose is so important. So purpose is a definitive difference that you make in the world, right? Definitive difference. What is it that you as a company, and you could be making cupcakes, you could be a software company, you could be making doorknobs or donuts, it doesn't matter. Every company should have their sense of purpose. And a purpose is a wonderful statement. It's a one-line statement that tells the world why you exist as a company. Why? All right. So I'm going to give you some examples, of course. So again, this is a great question to answer. What is our noble mission? Why do we come to work every day? What is it that motivates us in our hearts? What is a positive difference we make in our people's lives or the planet? A planet is a very powerful stakeholder today. What is our North Star that's guiding us? Because our company, there'll be ups and downs, there'll be COVID, there'll be new things happening, but we have a sense of purpose. We have a deep understanding of what we do, and we show up to work every day because we are here to bring some good in the world. Our business is a conduit to deliver that good in the world. What is that, right? And it doesn't matter, like I said, whatever company it is. Now, let's look at some purpose statements here from some of these super successful companies, right? TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor's purpose is to help people around the world plan and have the perfect trip. That's why TripAdvisor exists. Everything that company does is about living it up to its purpose, right? Helping people around the world plan and have the perfect trip. How many of us here have been helped by TripAdvisor? Say yes in the chat. Every time you take a travel, you read a review. How many of you here have been helped by this company? Exactly. So every time that happens, the company has fulfilled its purpose. It comes from a very deep place, everything it does. Now, purpose is not your business strategy. It's above that. It's your reason for existence. It's a very big Uber thing that you deliver on. All right. I was part of this beautiful little company for 10 years. I spent a decade at Disney, and that's why I do what I do today. And this was such a powerful company. It changed my life. It gave me a tremendous sense of belonging, of purpose. And Disney's purpose is not to, to create more theme parks or movies, although they do that very well. Cruise liners, merchandise, excellent, excellent products. But their purpose at the core of what is driving Disney is bringing happiness and optimism to kids and families around the world. So when I joined this company, the orientation was so powerful. It was storytelling. It was telling stories about people that have been in the company for years. And what a powerful sense of purpose, bringing happiness and optimism to kids and families around the world. How many of us here in this group have felt a sense of joy and optimism when you've experienced Disney products? Whether you've seen a movie or you've gone to the theme park or you even bought a stuffed toy, that is that moment that this company delivers for you, that moment of joy and optimism. Right? Alibaba, making it easy to do business anywhere. It's a simple yet powerful purpose. We just make it simple to do business anywhere. This is massive. It's not easy to do business anywhere, but that's why they exist as a company. Asana is like a team software, and it's like Slack, and they are here to help humanity thrive by enabling all teams to work together effortlessly. Now, what are some things you're noticing here in these purpose statements? Are you seeing any commercial aspects here? Are you seeing any financial goals in here? Tell me, yes or no? What are you seeing here? Are you seeing any financials? You know, right? You're not seeing any commercial statements in here. This is all about bringing something good in the world, helping people, helping them reach. Help is a good word to have in your purpose statement, making it easy, creating something. So your purpose is bigger, right? And when people join your company, they get a sense of being part of something bigger. When I joined Disney, I didn't feel like I was joining Disney, the company. I felt like I was joining a movement. And that movement was to spread joy and optimism in the world. That fueled me, that intrinsically motivated me. I went through a powerful orientation session that really transformed the way I thought about that company. And that's what motivated me to give 100% at work, okay? And that's what we need today. It doesn't matter how big or small your company is. What is your purpose? You need to tell that story to people, right? Here's a few other purpose statements that I'm sure you're familiar with these companies, but you might not have seen what their purpose statements are. To enable people and businesses throughout the world to realize their full potential. This is Microsoft. They have recently had a bit of soul searching, transformed the company, and they've moved from just a tech company to a company that's enabling people and businesses throughout the world to realize their full potential. They see themselves as tool makers. Yeah, when Satya, when he wrote that book about the company, he mentioned this about having this deep sense of purpose that's driving everyone at Microsoft. How many of you know this company? I'm sure you know. You connect with this almost, you touch this company every day to connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. Does anybody know? Junting, you got it. Well done. Well done. LinkedIn. Yeah. LinkedIn. And LinkedIn at its core is here to connect the world's professionals, but not just to connect them, to help them become more productive and successful, right? We look at LinkedIn today, it's our business profile. We all look good and smart with our suits and jackets and ties on LinkedIn, but we're there because we're there to meet other business professionals. We're there to network. We're there to showcase our authority, build our brand in that space, and that's what LinkedIn empowers us to do. Improving lives through meaningful innovation. Now, a lot of you will say, this is sounds like Dyson, but it's actually Philips. Improving lives through meaningful innovation. They're not just innovating for the sake of innovation. They're improving lives. Every innovation of Philips has to result in improving people's lives. So again, you're seeing very powerful statements that these companies have taken a while to think about, because your purpose never changes. Your strategies might change, your vision, your mission, all that stuff could change, but your purpose never changes. It's always there to guide you. It's your North Star. Your North Star never shifts in the universe. It's always there. Here's another one: to be a leading global enterprise that enriches people through high quality, and this is capital land. And I love DBS's statement. Piyush has done a fantastic job with retooling the culture of the company, and more importantly, finding that soul of DBS, finding what is it about banking that we can bring, making banking joyful. And I have seen, I'm also a DBS customer, and I've seen the transformation that happens in this bank because of this one statement. They've made banking joyful for their people. It's a great place to work. It shows up in the top 10, in the culture, best places to work. And they've made it joyful for their customers. Banking, they're making seamless. Look at all the things that has come out of DBS, right? The Payla, all the other initiatives that they're doing, even tie-ups with Carousel, and so much stuff that DBS is doing. They want to make banking seamless and transparent. In fact, Piyush's dream is to make banking invisible, because joy. You want to come to the bank and experience joy inside. For their people, you want to attract the best people. Now people are not working for a bank, but we're working for a bank that's making banking joyful for customers and for ourselves. It's a wonderful thing to be part of. This, my friends, is how you give a sense of something bigger. What is your company here for? So here's some examples and really hardcore industrial companies that I consult with. And one of the first exercises is figuring out the purpose. So I spend about 3-4 days with the management team, senior management. We sit down there and we write things on the wall. Say, what is it that you actually do? And this was a company that was fantastic. It was a wonderful company that we work with, and they saw themselves as tools and joints professionals. They're cuts and joints professionals. They made welding equipment and joining and cutting, and they didn't think about them being bigger. But what they do actually is empower infrastructure projects, right? They work with some of the biggest names in shipyards and building and infrastructure around in the region. And so the management team just didn't see them as having a deeper sense of purpose until we arrived at this line: empowering progress for a better world. Because everything they did resulted in progress, and they want to make the world better. They want to come up with cleaner, greener. Their cutting wheels and everything that they're designing are a lot more efficient, and they're greener products. So they want to make a change in the world. So today they've moved from just being cuts and joints professionals to empowering progress for a better world. This is powerful. This is there on every piece of communication. Every time they put out a job ad, this is on their website. This is on everything that they do. It drives and motivates people in the company as well, because they see themselves as not part of a industry that's creating, welding equipment or cutting equipment. They're here because they're empowering progress for a better world. This was another company that we worked with on a branding project with, wonderful here, called Europlast in Singapore, and the founder, very passionate lady, she wanted to bring very, very beautiful vinyl flooring into Singapore, and so she didn't see herself. She saw herself as a vinyl expert, but flooring expert, but that's too micro. Think bigger. What happens when? Ask this question. What happens when we do this? Keep asking that question until you reach an ultimate benefit. Okay. So in the end of the day, we figured out their purpose of the company was really about helping people live well, helping people to create their dream space and live well. So now you've just moved beyond a flooring company to a company that helps people create their dream space and live well. You can have multiple products under this banner, right? But now it's a powerful sense of purpose that drives you. Everyone in the company is aligned towards this purpose, and this is what they deliver. Why is this even more important? Look at this survey. This was done by Singapore University of Social Sciences, and it was over 1,000 Singaporeans, 19-year-old. They just asked them, what do they want in a job? The job must be meaningful to me. 41% said, almost 42% said the meaningful. My friends here today, where does meaning come from? Tell me in the chat. Where do you get meaning? Where does meaning come from? Absolutely. Thank you, Florin. And what about the rest of you? Are you guys awake? Let's hear you. Yes, meaning comes from having a sense of purpose, helping others. Wonderful. Henry, good to see you. And I think that is important, right? It's so important. Having a sense of purpose, having that deep sense of purpose gives meaning to people. Today, 99% of the companies today, they're just creating products and services, but people don't know that they're doing something bigger in the world. Every company is set up to fulfill a need in someone's lives. You have to make that your key message. That should be your starting point, right? Now, I want you to spend 30 seconds now and think about what would be the purpose of your company today, right? It's a nice time to do some personal reflection here and think about it. If someone were to meet you, stop you in the elevator and say, hey, what do you guys do? Don't tell them what you do. Tell them why you do it. and the why should be your purpose. I'm tremendously passionate about helping companies discover and live their purpose and permeate that right through the company, because I believe this is the number one thing that helps attract and retain your people, because they feel that their work becomes meaningful. They feel a sense of connectedness to a company. It's the glue that binds a company together. It's a secret sauce. All right, so let's move on. The second key thing is, how can I grow personally and professionally? A lot of you said this. People want to grow, right? We are, it's in our DNA. We are here to become the best versions of ourselves in our lives, right? And so companies, we spend 1/3 of our waking moments at work. 1/3 of our lives is spent at this place called work. But what is that inspiration that helps us become better? Right? Are we doing something? That are we learning? Are we relearning? Are we reinventing? Are we changing ourselves? Are we feel that we're growing? That's something we need to look at. So find out when people want to join you, and interviews are the great place to do this. What is your aspirations? What are your quests in life? What do you want to achieve? Get this thing up front, right? Because now you should be able to help them achieve, not just fill a position. Unfortunately, most HR people today are bogged down to fill a position, the urgency, fill this position. You have a human being that's working for you that needs hand-holding, nurturing, mentoring, growth, right? There's a person behind that name who's looking to become the best version of themselves. And that's important for you to understand that. As managers, do you know the aspirations of your direct reports, of your people? If not, start the conversation tomorrow. What are your aspirations? Spend time on Zoom. Do this. Find out what they want to become. So here's some tips, and I think you can, within your own company, create a multitude of experiences. And I think a lot of people ask me, so how do we do this? How do we get people to learn and experience other things? You can create multiple experiences within your company. You have so many different divisions. Occasionally, you can ask someone, hey, would you like to try something in this customer service? Would you like to, someone working in one division like marketing? Would you try, front end sales or customer experience, or would you want to do something else at, in R&D? There's so many opportunities. Start a mentorship program. You have older employees in your company, great mentors today, right? They have experience, they have so much stuff. Attach your young employees to older employees. Start a mentorship program. Could be 3 months. Invite them to do this. It's very, very powerful. I had this in Disney. It was amazing. I could connect with anyone in the world that I wanted from the company to expand my horizons. Provide the right training, not just any training. Find out what exactly they're gravitating to. What is this something that they want to learn? Right? And training today is just a lot of it is just superficial. Oh, I'll get this done. I'll tick that box. We trained our employees. It's not right. It's not what they're looking for. Find out the aspirations and connect your training with that. Look to promote within. When you're seeing people that grow in the company, that's a great sign, right? That things are working, people are growing. You're showing the world that you are enhancing the knowledge of your people. Regular check-in sessions. I highly recommend doing once a week check-in sessions with your direct reports, and keep it open, 15 minutes of time. Share thoughts and ideas, and ask this question: what are your aspirations? What did you learn last week? What are you looking to learn as we go forward? And then you can share stories of how people have grown. Share this, put this on your website. These are wonderful testimonials of how people have grown within the company. And this is what some of the great companies are doing every day. Powerful influencing, letting people know, letting the world know how great they are, like in terms of helping people achieve their full potential. So when you do that, you're building a highly driven and engaged workforce, highly driven and engaged. All right. Now, the next one, and I'm going to go through, there's a lot of information that I want to make sure that I capture for you here. Some of you mentioned this sense of belonging. Sense of belonging. We all want to feel a sense of belonging. And today, that is a rare commodity, given that we are mostly offline, right? I mean, we're not meeting people, we're mostly online. And that is a challenge, but you can still do that even in a Zoom environment. You can have group chats, you can do Zumba sessions, meditation. There's so many other things that you can bring people together around common interests, so they feel they're part of something bigger, right? They feel connected, and a sense of camaraderie even evolves in that sort of online environment as well. So here's a few tips, and I want to focus more on onboarding here in terms of creating that magical experience for people when they first come into your company. And this is something today that is being done, on an online environment environment, and it's quite challenging, but you can still create stories, you can do things online, you can have team welcome messages from people there. You can put all this online and let everybody go through this process. So they feel they're already connected. They feel that they know some people already in the company, and you already established that sense of belongingness. So here's a hot tip for you. So, break the onboarding experience into snackable pieces. A lot of companies have packed this orientation, sort of 9 to 6, and there's way too much. You need to just sort of compartmentalize this into snackable pieces. I call it pre-boarding and the actual onboarding. So for pre-boarding, what you can do really is get some make them feel welcome. Get some videos from the team, meet your team. The team talks about what they do, right, on these videos, or you can even have this as a live Zoom call. And these are one session at a time. Don't make it too much. Don't pack in too much. Have this over like 3 or 4 days. The problem people have is just do too much stuff, and mostly very boring presentations. People are sharing slides and commercial. Somebody joins your company, they don't want to read all that right now. They want to say, who's there? What are these people like? I want a story to tell. Share your purpose on day one with your new employees, so that they share that with their community. They go home and they call or they pick up the phone and share this with their mom. I'm working for a company that's doing so much good in the world. Share that story with them, right? That's so important. And then also give practical information on how to get started at work, right? People are feeling, I don't know how to do this. Connect people with mentors as well. That should be a powerful onboarding. So I'm giving you a few insights here. I'm sure you're looking at that. A welcome tour of the office is always good. I think you can do this virtually. You can have a virtual tour. You can walk and create a video, walk around, co-boarding buddy. I call this a co-boarding. Attach someone immediately to their buddy who will help them with anything they need during the initial first couple of weeks. Create a what will happen next, so they know over the next few weeks there's a schedule that I need to work on. So there's some direction and guidance there. Your first day has to be super memorable. Create content, create videos, create storytelling about your company, why it exists, customer stories. So someone who's joined your company has a very powerful insight. Your day one is the most important day, my friends. If that person is not moved, if that person doesn't feel part of something bigger, you've lost. It's hard to build that over time. Day one needs to be a very powerful, immersive experience. Okay, for me, it's so vivid in my mind. My day one at Disney was super powerful when I got that. My folder, the storytelling, the videos that I was shown, my camaraderie, the gifts on my desk from my friends, my teammates who I hadn't even met, and the whole follow-up to that was just so memorable. Do in-depth training sessions. Of course, you need to get people up to speed, and then have regular check-ins. The first few weeks, check in, see how someone is doing. Show that you care about them. And that's super powerful. All right. How many of you enjoying this? Give me a yes in the chat. How many of you feel that you're getting some really good value out of this? Good. All right. Excellent. So I'm going to share some more stuff as we go through here. I think support is so important. I think sense of belonging comes from support, where colleagues willingly and easily cover each other's work. And I think, the first week, you should let people know that we're here for you. You're not throwing the deep end. You're not expected to know everything. There has to be that message sent to your new employees. All right. So the next one is, I think a lot of you today found this. You highlighted this in the chat. How can I achieve a good work-life balance? And again, today we realized, in a way, thanks to COVID, that we can manage this, or we can have our own space at home and yet be connected to work. And some of us find it a little challenging, but a lot of us today will be in that sort of mixed environment, and we're coming to terms with that, right? And I see this as going forward. I think we're going to end up in a hybrid situation where we're working 2-3 days at work, and the rest of the time we spend at our leisure wherever we want, and we can work from wherever we want. Technically, many companies were already doing this even before COVID. So they have a huge advantage. So I think, the demand for flexibility is growing. People are becoming more aware of achieving a good work-life balance. I think the idea of just being all about work is not sort of working well within our aspirations as employees, and we want to do some things also that are complementing in our own space, right? So I think that's what's really powerful, as opposed to being physically present. I'm seeing some questions coming in there in the Q&A, and I'll answer those. So the key is, and every company is different, okay? And every company will need to figure this thing out. Is what is that flexible work arrangement that provides enough flexibility, keep workers happy without having a negative impact on productivity or work quality? But the days, I think, of certain companies just having everybody coming at 9 and leaving at 6 and not being productive, but just sitting there as a warm body or a bench warmer, I think is gone. We can be super productive in less time, work really smart, and then do the things that we love as well and wrap that around work. So I think we're seeing this now, work and home and life for three different things. I think I see all coming together in some way. Right, so it's beautifully sort of blended in, and that's where we're headed for. So hybrid work, offsite telecommuting, and some of these companies were already way ahead of the curve, and they were doing this, right? The freedom to work on site and some days off site. Again, you have to base it on individual circumstances. Some companies might, need people to be there, because of their critical services and things like that might not work. But you have to figure this thing out. Talk to your teams. You might not have to figure it out yourself as a manager or a CEO. Bring your teams into this conversation, right? So, and I always tell companies that, place importance on how employees work rather than where they work. It should be about how they work. and that's what we should go after, not where. Where is becoming irrelevant today. There are apps today like this one. And again, like Mystical said, I'll be sharing my slides after you complete the survey. So please stay back for the link at the end of this talk. Make sure everybody's still here. We'll pass you this information. You'll get my slides as well. Right? Many companies are looking at, there are countries today that are looking at a 4-day work week policy. Right? The countries like New Zealand have initiating a 4-day work week and compact this into and having 3 days off time. So we're looking at whole new ways that are coming through. High performance isn't about how much you put in. It's really about what you get out, right? So being physically present for that many hours, I think we need to rethink that model of how companies work. Japan is looking at a 4-day work week. Iceland is already mooting this, discussions happening, this ideas. So our world is changing. So we're looking at this becoming a new norm down the line, whether it's going to be implemented or not, but at least these conversations are happening around the world today. So here's some tips for you, and it'll be in your PDF when you download it, right? Employees are given the freedom to select when their workday begins, and as long as their contracted number of hours, that's fine. You can stipulate a number of hours are covered. You can work from 11 to 7. Some people might need to go in the morning to drop their kids to work, or they might have other commitments, but that's okay. Everybody cannot commit to a 9 to 5. They divide. Okay, if I have to work 8 hours a day, I will decide on what those hours can be, and I'll get my work done. And people might extend their hours in one day to reduce their hours in another, as long as that. So you need to manage this, and there has to be apps. There are apps for this to be able to do that today. And flexi time can be especially useful for people who need to fit things around other commitments, right? Okay, good. So we're getting some, and there's a hot tip here. I think we're coming to a point where it's flexibility and autonomy. Flexibility and autonomy, right? The freedom to do things at my own terms and my own pace, and the flexibility, and work fits in with that. And I think that's what we need to look at. So the last thing I want to share with you here today is making a difference and feeling significant. So and this is really about just giving pat on the back, an occasional pat on the back to people. The yearly bonus, I think, is pretty much archaic, and increments. That's the standard way we used to do things. But I think we need to look at rewarding people more. And there's not about just money every time. There's so many things you can share. If a customer has said something about your company, someone should be responsible for that. Share those things. There's team-based rewards, which I feel is highly impactful. You reward the team, so everybody in the team contributes toward that. You have special passion projects that you can initiate. People all have a passion, they want to do something. Help them work on something on the side. Google does this really well, 15% time. 3M, Disney has this as well. We could work on our passion projects, and align your rewards with company purpose. And so people feel connected. What is your purpose? And you say, okay, this month, this one did something that was truly connected to our purpose, and reward them. So many different rewarding ideas. There's community efforts doing good, and share those. Share what people are doing. Share how people are really exemplifying the company values and the purpose at meetings, and people feel good. So it's not just meeting them once a year or giving them that increment. every week or every day is an opportunity for you to reward your employees in some way. And we need to move to a more dynamic rewarding system, more rather than just this once a year thing. I think that's what we see change. A lot of companies are already doing this. And so basically, I see a massive transformation for me. Today, we have, I'm going to end this with this slide, and then I'm opening up for questions in 5 minutes. Today, we see very top-down, hierarchical sort of structures, company organizational structures. And the future, we see flatter structures, more team-based, more project-based stuff. Careers today are very fixed path. They're more experience-based. But I think moving forward, and we're already in this phase, I think we see multiple paths. It's more about performance-based. Leadership was perhaps more about control, authority, and solo decision making. And the way I see leadership now is being a coach, being a mentor, being agile. And you are the chief culture officer. As a leader, you are the one that's driving that culture, breaking down silos, absolutely. What does a workspace look like in the past? It was very assigned, very silo. But today, we are transient, we're open, flexible, we have work-life balance. So this is where the shift is happening. And if your company is not in this place, then I highly recommend you start thinking about it. You need to work on this transformation fast, because this is where the world is headed to. Your business goals in companies used to be very bottom-line driven, but what I feel they should be about is stakeholder and purpose driven. Stakeholder and purpose. And who are your stakeholders today? Right? Your people, number one. Your customer, number two. Your communities, number three, and we have a very important stakeholder to add, the planet. What are you doing? Your own efforts in recycling, in sustainability, things like that are very, very, so you tick these boxes, these 4 stakeholders, and I think you have the foundations for huge success. Your people are happy, your customers are super thrilled. You're doing your work in your communities, you're helping people, and there's great karma coming back to you, and you're doing your bit for the planet. And I think that's what is a holistic approach to business, right? We're moving away from just profit driven. It's about putting people before profit now. Money will come. You will be hugely successful if you do all this stuff. And I think that's the biggest mistake we have. We're very focused on the bottom line. We're focused on the money. Money is a byproduct of having a powerful purpose and doing good across your spectrum of stakeholders. All right. So for me, I believe, how do we create all this? In the end of the day, it comes down to your company culture. It really comes down to building a very powerful, strong culture in a company that delivers on all these aspects. You have a powerful system, a DNA, your purpose-driven company, your values are aligned with your purpose, your people behave in a certain way. And I call it your company religion, right? This is something that really motivates and intrinsically drives your company to success. Google, Facebook, Shell, Amazon, Microsoft, Visa, AIA, HubSpot, JP Morgan, HP, right? These have very high ratings on Glassdoor. People are gravitating to these companies because of their great culture. But every company today can have a great culture. They just need to know how to do it. And how do we bake all these things from an overall experience, from our DNA to our onboarding to people to and delivering all the magic that we deliver every day, to great products, to how do we treat our customers and how do we live this every day? That's something every company needs to figure out, right? So I like to share that I was so passionate about culture that it drove me. I left the corporate world after almost 18 years of work, and then I wanted to bring something to the business world. And I wrote my book. I never thought I would be an author in my life, but I did write a book on company culture because I felt so strongly that was one of the missing pieces today in the business world. So I wanted to bring something there and a framework to create a very powerful culture in that book. So a lot of my work today as a business transformation architect is helping companies build great cultures that attract talent, that retain them, that create powerful products, and really help companies reach their full potential. And a lot of this work is just so fulfilling for me to see that, that the work that I'm doing every day is helping create better work environments, happier employees. It's tremendously fulfilling. This is my framework, and it'll be there in your PDF. I use this for culture transformation. Don't want to get too much into this, but I've already spoken to you about quite a lot of this framework, and it's how you have all these moving pieces in place to build a great company culture. I do a lot of work, and again, as as an RMC consultant, it's all funded. You get up to 80% of funding done today by ESG. So tremendous companies that work with me get their projects funded. So I do culture transformation. That's my key product. 3D deep branding. I create powerful emotional brands that connect with customers, and I help them really create amazing customer experiences and deliver word of mouth strategies. So those are the three key things that I do, and I'm working. My focus is with SMEs, because the big companies have figured out. They've already done this. They have figured it out. It's the smaller companies that need this. They really need this today. And if you get your culture right, if you get your brand right, and if you have your customer experience right, you have what I call the golden triangle for massive business success. Lots of great questions here. So maybe I'll stop my share, and Mystical will help me sift through these questions.
Thank you, Mr. Ashok Miranda. That was an amazing presentation, and I'm pretty sure that everyone in the audience can agree unanimously. So as shared, I'm sure you guys all have some burning questions. So this brings us to the next part of the webinar, the Q&A session. So we have the first question. I am a HR, and quite often the employees left the company because they feel that the company's top management direction is not right, and they felt too powerless to change anything. What is your view on this?
Yeah. So again, I think the direction is not right because you haven't communicated the direction of the company. And again, how many people here today get a an understanding of the company, what they do, the purpose, what is a vision, things like that? No. You're not even creating that experience. So employees don't even know what direction, right? You're not helping them grow. You're not doing all these things that we talked about. So they feel lost. They feel they're not part of something bigger, and they will leave. And that's what's driving a lot of this migration. They feel that they cannot grow. They feel there's no sense. I'm not part of something bigger. It's all those things that are not happening for them.
Okay, so I understand that many managers, bosses are still managing by input. They want to see you physically present from 9 to 5, but they are not used to, managing by objectives. So how can this mindset be changed?
I think it's a wake-up call. A lot of managers are still very old school, and I think they need to wake up to the reality that it's not about input, it's about output, right? I mean, it's what people will do. We have to move away from that mindset. They have to really think that, the job will get done. It's just that the place is irrelevant now. That's what needs to happen. And that's exactly what we talked about here. So they need to be able to see this shift, and we can't run companies the old school way. There's tons of information available on how you can do that, but definitely we need to open up their minds and change their mindset to the fact that I think the physical space and where people sit and 9 to 5 and all that is changing. Yeah? We're in a whole different world. I hope they came here. Should invite them to this seminar. Some great examples here that we shared. I think I'll pick one here, Mystical.
Sure.
How do we create effective interviews during recruitment process? Okay, this is a great question. First of all, if you look at most recruiting ads, it just puts your job requirement, job skills needed. It doesn't talk about your company. What is your purpose? What do you do? What do you bring to the world? So your story is gone. You don't have a story right at the beginning. The interview process should be about them. Ask your potential candidates, what are they looking for in life? Why did they find you? Why did they find interesting? Why did they apply to this job? What are their aspirations? What are their goals? Ask them. We always talk about our company. Now it's time to shift to what they want, right? And if they feel that they're being looked after, their cares are being met, that's how we need to understand. And they will in turn give you 100%. That's what we need. We can't just be, okay, I'm not filling a position. I'm putting a human being that has a potential to grow, to become the best version of themselves. I need to know more about you. What are your dreams? What are your aspirations? What are your hopes? In a company like Mindvalley, they just ask you all these things when they join. So your goals are shared by everybody in the company. You feel so good because you understand what motivates you, right? And that's why that's so powerful. So the questions should be open-ended, empowering questions. Why do you think you'll fit in here? What do you know about us? What brought you here? Why did you apply to this job, right? Stories. I mean, you need to then create that impression that, oh my God, this is a great place to work and you are part of this journey. That's what's missing.
Okay, the other question, employee burnt out is real. How do we prevent or help the employees?
I think we need to check-ins, do regular check-ins with them. It's real. We've already touched on this. I think you need to have one-on-one sessions where they share things with you. Give them that door. Have a once a week time for your direct reports to connect with you, and let them set the agenda for the meeting. All right. And they will share with you, and you can ask them, how are you feeling last week? How are you doing? I just want to hear from you. Is everything okay? Sometimes they just a question like that will open it up, and they'll share things for you. If someone didn't submit a project on time, don't just hound them. Hey, why you don't? There must be something that's happening in their lives, right? So we need to go dig slightly deeper. Like I said, we're not trained to be counselors, and I think that's the challenge managers are having today, because a lot of employees are stressed. They're burning out, and if someone hasn't delivered something on time, dig deep a little bit to figure out why that happened, and share. Maybe there's something there that you can help them with. We're all human beings, and I think that's what we need to have. It's a little compassion, empathy. All those things are becoming very important now. The EQ part of work is becoming super important now, especially in a time like this.
I completely agree with you there. There is a very interesting question. How to address the concerns of elder workers when getting them to change or being mentors to the younger ones.
Yeah.
One elder worker said he felt the pain in teaching the younger one, meaning it can make him redundant at work.
Okay. I don't think that's true. I think there's a lot of wisdom from elder workers. They have been through so much of life. They can share customer insights. In fact, I've worked with several companies that have people that have been in the company for 30, 40 years, and they're valuable assets. They have not tapped into this asset. I think companies need to look at what does an elderly worker do? They're a lot more open in a way, not sort of, they don't want to change drastically in their life right now, but they have so much to give. They have so much of stories and experiments and experience in doing business that they can share with you that a lot of young people might not have. This is the generation where we actually did work by connecting with people, meeting up with them, which some of the youngsters today don't have no idea, right? Especially now with COVID, no one's meeting each other, but we're moving back to that world, and that's where the experience will come in. They have whys, they have done things, they have learned, they have failed at things, and I think bringing them in, helping them become mentors. Some of them might not be able to teach, but you can train them to create content around it. But I think it's very, very powerful. So assigning them as mentors, helping them create best practices and things like that. They're very good with their people skills. They're very good with all the things today that we need in companies, and tremendously rich in experience as well. So we need to tap in those. People are going to be working well into their 60s and 70s. I mean, that's the way it's going to be now, right? And so there's so much here, give and take, so much to share. And I'm sure a lot of people are open to learning new things. Immediately they might not adapt, but when they get excited, when they can see the possibilities, we're still growing. We still want to grow in our 60s and 70s. There's just so much more, right? Look at Lee Kuan Yew. He was learning advanced Mandarin in his 90s. He'd never stopped learning. We don't want this to go dull in our lives, right? So I think there's training, there's open things, and there's so many things you can open up to your older workforce. There's a tremendous amount of untapped potential there. Good question, by the way.
Yes, I agree that as well. Okay, so moving on to the next question. For many companies, especially listed ones, the need to continually deliver shareholder value sometimes drives how a company's culture is built. How can this be changed over time?
Yeah. So I think you heard it from Singtel. I think if your people are happy, your customers are happy, your shareholders definitely will be happy. So don't start with how can I make my shareholders happy? That is the end result. Think about creating a powerful culture in your company. Think about starting with why do we exist? What is our culture? Write down your culture playbook. And that's a lot of my work that I do. I help companies create a playbook. You need a manual. Now, the problem we have in many companies is that you have SOPs on everything. You have SOPs on how you deliver your products, your services, your logistics, whatever SOPs. But do you have an SOP on how to run the company? Probably not. If I asked you, what is your Bible? What is your go-to manual and how do you run this company? And most companies don't. Guess what? The most successful companies in the world have a culture playbook. In that, it tells you how to run the company. How this is your DNA, this is who we are, this is how we communicate, this is the values that we care about. And most values today are fluff. You have to do some work around creating meaty, succinct values, how people should behave, how our products, what is our vision for our products, what is our vision for our customers, and how do we live our culture every day. That is something that needs to be captured in a playbook. This is how we run our company. Irrespective of who comes and goes in the company, top management, this is the go-to sort of workbook, the go-to playbook of how we run our company. And that is missing today. And that's what I help create for small businesses. And once you have that, it is gold. It really makes your company fly because there's no guesswork. We're all operating under this beautiful, strong culture that's driving us, that's really pushing us forward to put us in a powerful position for the future as well.
A really interesting question over here. So purpose of business, does it translate to vision, the company's vision and mission?
Yeah, there is a connect. So just to differentiate between the three, purpose is why you exist, right? You exist to bring some greater good. Your vision is where do you see yourself. So your vision statement is we aspire to be the number one in our category. We aspire to be the most loved brand in Asia. We see ourselves as the top 5 airline. Whatever it is, you can have a vision. Vision is your future. Where do you see yourself? Mission is how you do it. What are your unique systems and processes in your company that you have to achieve your vision and your purpose? So there's 3 different things. Starts with your purpose. Your vision is where do you see yourself, and your mission delivers on that.
Thank you so much for pointing it out. I think most companies, in my humble opinion, they do get the vision and mission kind of mixed up. So thank you so much for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. In the healthcare sector, huge resources has been invested in making improvements over the years. Decades still unable to attract and stop the leak. Any one bright idea from you?
It's a passion industry. It's not something for everyone. So storytelling, how people's lives are being transformed. The healthcare companies need to really sort of motivate people in that respect. It's so fulfilling. It's deeply fulfilling to be in the healthcare, to give someone a better life and improve people's lives in some form, and it's a very powerful calling. And so I think you need to approach it slightly differently in the way you advertise, though, in the way you motivate people and create a very powerful onboarding experience for that. But there's a huge opportunity, and I see storytelling as being very big part of that journey. Yeah, high pay, easy job. And I think we need to stop at some point, because pay, like I said, it's not a big motivator. You can give several other things. I mean, I think you reach a point where you pay the market median. And I think a lot of companies today are making payment transparent. I mean, people find out other people's salaries, they kind of know about it. I know it's a bit strange, but the old way of just bumping up salaries and making people stay just for money, I think is we need to add a few layers on top of that. So again, making work meaningful, giving value in some way where people feel more fulfilled. Money only lasts for that long. And I'll tell you from my own experience, I thought if I made so much, I would be happy. But no, even towards the end of my top executive career, I felt there was something in me that was not fulfilled. And what I'm doing today is tremendously fulfilling. And so I think that's the motivation that we need to help people with. You pay people the market medians, and some companies pay slightly higher than that. So you have a compensation package that really works, but there can be other things thrown into that compensation package that makes it more holistic for someone, where they find growth, they find passion, they find they're doing things, and the company helps them become who they want to become, right? It's more than money that's motivating people today. I think this is a nice one. We have lost sight of, Gordon has a very good comment here, and we've lost sight of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Absolutely, Gordon. I mean, I think the self-fulfillment part of Maslow's hierarchy of needs needs to be addressed in companies. We can't just look at people as filling positions and doing work anymore. These are real human beings with beyond their names that need as inspiration. We need leadership with inspiration. We need an inspiring work environment, and we need people to reach their full potential and become the best versions of themselves. I think totally is so nice that you mentioned Maslow here. I think a great question by Vivian here. How do you maintain company culture beyond writing down your purpose? Yeah, so you have to live your culture every day, and so the great companies will use their values in everyday things. Every meeting will begin with the value of the month. You have culture champions. You have events around your purpose. You remind people, physically around the office as well. You put your purpose there. You celebrate purpose achievements when you do them. There's culture days. There's LinkedIn has in days, and Disney, we had so many things we did around our values and things. So again, you have to bring all these things to life, right? And so great companies are doing this so well. There's not enough time on this. Maybe that's another webinar we can do. How do you live your culture, Mystical? So that's a good one. I can talk for days on how companies do this, and I help companies do that in my culture transformation work. One great example example before we end. There was a company that said in their values is we treat each other like family. And I said, how do we bring this to life? Just put up a massive thank you board in your boardroom. And every week everyone in the company has to put a thank you note up. Thank you, Mystical, for helping me with this presentation. Thank you, John, for doing this. And over time, you'll see that board fill up. And that's how you live your values, right? Where being part of a family. Just simple thank you notes on a whiteboard.
I think the thank you board is such a great suggestion, and it's so easy to start with, to be honest.
Absolutely. There's so many things, small things that companies do to bring their culture to life every day. Tremendous amount of things that you can do. Yeah. All right.
Okay. Oh, okay. So before we end today's webinar, Mr. Ashok Miranda, would you like to wrap up today's session with a couple of thoughts for the audience to take back?
I think from a macro perspective, we have to rethink about companies, the way work is done, the way we attract and retain talent, and we have to have a holistic view about people. And I always say, and how do we do this? How do we then fix something that is not just cosmetic, but at a core of a company? And I always believe it starts with your culture, because your culture covers everything, right? Who you are, your DNA, how you attract your people, how you retain them, how you motivate, compensate, how you create products. And it all comes back to the culture of your company. And if you get that right, if you get the culture part right, you will have a company that employees love, customers adore, and the world admires. And those are the three key things every company aspires to be. I meet up with so many CEOs and I said, I asked them, what do you want your legacy to be in this company, right? When you retire, what do you want people to say about you? Is it going to be that you met your budget, that you made so much money? Those things don't matter. It's about how did you help your people become the best versions? How did you grow? How do you create amazing products that change the world? You made a difference in people's lives in your own way, whether you made donuts or doorknobs or cupcakes or software. What was it? What matters in the end is the good that you do, is something that you bring people up to the next level. You've created a company that people love. Someone met you in a kopitiam 10 years down the line, and if you were a head of department and say, thank you, John, I don't think you remember me, but you made my life special. I learned so much from you, and it was so nice. Thank you. Thank you. That's the most fulfilling thing that you can hear today. And that's what we need to help companies do, right? Really figure out that we are not here just to create products and services. We're here to nurture human beings. We're here to help people reach their full potential. And when you help people reach their full potential, they in turn will help you as your company reach your full potential. We have got it wrong. We've got it the other way.
Well said. That was a fantastic takeaway. Thank you for your participation, and a big thank you to Mr. Ashok Miranda for his time and valuable insights. We hope that you have benefited from the webinar. Before we end, a gentle reminder to complete the feedback form by clicking on the link that will appear after you leave the session. Your feedback is crucial, and it will allow us to tailor more meaningful events like this for you. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you again at our future events. You can check them out via our website under events page. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye.